Science has evolved into many forms over the years, branching out to extensive studies in mathematics and logic, biological science, physical science, and social science. It is thanks to these studies that we are able to live in a society we are in today. Unless it's in a terrible lockdown, then I guess we haven't evolved that far. Nevertheless, these sciences are needed to stabilize the foundation of what we live in today. And what I want to discuss with you guys is social science, more specifically psychology, and I have just a manga I want to use as an introduction, Liar Game. My name is Burai, and in this video I'll be talking about Liar Game's MC and his use of cognitive dissonance to start up a masterpiece of a series that utilizes the field of psychology. So, let's get into it. Liar Game is a psychological mind game manga that puts an innocent and overly gullible girl, Kanzaki Nao, into a spiraling world similar to Kakegurui, but less fan service and more brains. I'll mostly talk about the first volume, so if you want to read more, be my guest, as it is a really good read. The opening pilot arc shows Kanzaki getting tricked into joining a high-risk, high-reward game. The rules were laid out for her. If she could steal more money than her opponent, she wins. And the prize is the difference of the total money lent to her at the beginning of the round. And boy, it was a lot. 100 million yen to be exact. This means that she could steal 1 yen and earn that 1 yen, or steal all 100 million yen and walk away with that same amount. The problem though was her opponent would have to pay back the 100 million yen and most probably go into crippling debt. Something like student loans. Kanzaki thinks the best way for each person to walk away debt-free was to not steal at all. Simple enough. And she thinks this can work since she finds out her opponent is an old middle school teacher of hers. She goes to his house and her teacher comes up with a brilliant idea. Let him take care of the money and he can return it to her before the game ends. Kanzaki sees no problem with this idea and gives the 100 million yen to him, and turns out he scammed her. Go figure. The referee tells her this, but she doesn't believe them because she trusts her teacher more than them. When she tries to confront the teacher reveals that he tricked her and refuses to give back the money. Long story short, the referee suggests getting help from the legendary swindler, Akiyama Shinichi, to get back the money, and he does so, with the power and science of the human mind, psychology. So, let's talk about him just a little more. Akiyama graduated university with a degree in psychology, and he displays this throughout the series, being able to predict and manipulate people's minds, either to his advantage or the advantage of Kanzaki. In the pilot arc, he uses his full prowess of his degree in psychology to make the teacher, Fujisawa Kazuo, go into full panic mode and lose the game with the snap of his finger. Akiyama creates holes in Fujisawa's foolproof plan to win all the money, with some help from cognitive dissonance. So, cognitive dissonance refers to a situation involving conflicting attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors. According to this theory, when two actions or ideas are not psychologically consistent with each other, people do all in their power to change them until they become consistent. This discomfort is triggered by the person's belief clashing with new information perceived, wherein they try to find a way to resolve the contradiction to reduce their discomfort. This is displayed when Akiyama confronts and challenges Fujisawa that he will clearly win and take all the money, presumably trying to get into Fujisawa's head and stay there rent-free. This theory on cognitive dissonance was explored by Leon Festinger way back in the 1950s. He proposed that human beings strive for internal psychological consistency to function mentally in the real world. One of the most common examples most people use as an analogy is usually a smoker. Most people who smoke know that smoking is bad for their health. This puts their mind in a state of cognitive dissonance where their behavior, smoking, and cognition, smoking will hurt my body, won't balance each other out. Cognitive dissonance is usually caused by 3 factors: decision-making, forced compliance behavior, and effort. Decision-making is pretty much trying to choose an option where both have their positives and negatives. Let's say hypothetically, you had the choice to be a YouTuber. If you decide to be one, you could possibly be popular and earn relatively more money than the work you're doing right now. The downside is constantly working and worrying about the content you're gonna make, and the thought of getting cancelled any day could happen. If you decide not to become a YouTuber, the negatives become positives, and vice versa. Forced compliance behavior is, simply put, doing something publicly that you really don't want to do. Let's take for example peer pressure. Imagine your high school life where you were told to bully someone and the rest of the people keep telling you to do it on the spot. Chances are, you cave in because you feel pressure to do it, rather than wanting to do it in the first place. Unless you're the one getting bullied, then damn. Lastly, there's effort, which this arc of the story tackles a lot. So before we get to that, let me talk a bit about effort as a factor. Let's say we have a goal that we highly value and we want to reach that goal no matter what. Dissonance would be caused most probably due to spending a great effort into trying to achieve this goal, but we somehow reach a point where we view it negatively. In the manga, Akiyama does very subtle actions to shake Fujisawa's cognition, resulting in an array of different behaviors and actions. To start, let's take the position of the teacher for 1 second. He's confident, because he knows how gullible and weak Kanzaki is, so both his behavior and cognition are in alignment. The first action Akiyama tells Kanzaki to do is face her teacher and tell him that she will take all 200 million yen from him, then keep a close eye on him 24/7. This weakens his cognition a bit, which results in a small change of behavior. Now let's go back to the factor of effort. The teacher values the money and aims to win all of it, no matter the cost. Akiyama wants to take back all the money. Fujisawa shows his cognitive dissonance slowly as he tries to justify that everything he's doing will turn out positive. The more he thinks about this, the more he tries to realign his cognition. Akiyama was able to notice this, so he decides to throw more chaos into his cognition. He smokes the outside of the house and plays fire sound effects to try and get him out of the house. Fujisawa refuses to leave his spot in the house, revealing to the duo that all 200 million yen is still inside the house, and he refuses to give it to them. Fujisawa, trying to boost his confidence, tells him that he's already won, while showing them a safe that seems uncrackable. Akiyama laughs and tells him that cracking that safe is child's play, and walks away. This would be the so-called last interaction Akiyama would give to Fujisawa, creating a chain of eternal conflict that will slowly cause total dissonance to his mental well-being. For Fujisawa, who's slowly starting to feel cornered, tries to put in as much effort as he can to maintain the goal of winning all the money. He knows that the safe is uncrackable, but is scared of the slight possibility of Akiyama trying to actually crack it. This overthinking of his continues to only strengthen the dissonance. This leads to his actions and behavior getting more and more unreasonable, like carrying around knives to protect the safe, lack of sleep to keep watch 24/7, and so on. All this to try and win, but each action just makes Akiyama more and more confident in their victory. Now, the manga arc ends in a win for Akiyama and Kanzaki, which, if you want to know how, you can read the manga. But this leads to a totally different thought. How could Fujisawa overcome or reduce his cognitive dissonance? There are ways that can reduce his mental discomfort. Changing the existing beliefs means changing your perception to better complement your actions. Fujisawa could have kept the idea that the money is fully secured in the safe, resulting in his actions being more and more reasonable. Adding new beliefs would require new information about the situation, like if Fujisawa knew about what Akiyama's final move would be to make or break his chances of winning. Or going back to the smoker example, seeing a new piece of information stating that research has not definitely proven that smoking causes lung cancer. The easiest but probably hardest to do is reducing the importance of these beliefs. If Fujisawa just did what Kanzaki suggested in the first place, break even at the very beginning, he wouldn't have reached the point of no return. It's always going to be hard to let go or even lower the importance of these beliefs, especially if it was something that was built into you from the beginning, like religion or maybe even political leanings. And with that, I'll end the discussion here. I don't normally reply to the comments because most of the time I don't know what to say, but feel free to discuss anything down below. I wanted to make a video about this series for a really long time, since I'm a big fan of the series, so I do hope you guys will give this a try. If there's a series you want me to try and talk about, you can drop a comment down below as well. If you like these science breakdown videos, I have a few more you might enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao!